Alright, it's enough of that. It's enough. Done. Okay, good. Whew. Well, now that that's all of our system. Hi, I'm Father Anthony Cusack, and it is indeed the night, the eve of St. Valentine's Day. Yes, that's right. I said St. Valentine's Day because, as we tend to forget, he was, in fact, a saint. Now, who was this man? Well, he's one of those people that a lot of people, they're like, is he even still a saint? Yes, he is still very much a saint. He existed. We know that he was a martyr, and beyond that, we don't know a whole lot about him. But there are a lot of, legends and different accounts of his life around him, from whence we get the tradition of Valentine's Day and associating that with the celebration of love, of romantic love. And so one of those legends around St. Valentine is that one of the reasons why he was persecuted, this was during the 3rd century when Christianity was still outlawed, and he was a priest. And one of the things he would do is perform weddings, perform marriages for Christian couples, Christian marriages and ceremonies. And this was considered a great offense against the law. And so this is one of the things that landed him first imprisonment and then in ultimately leading to his martyrdom, to his death, to giving his life for God. And so that's part of where the whole tradition of associating St. Valentine with this celebration of romantic love comes from. Now, whatever else around him, whatever else the traditions may be, whatever else he really was versus the legends that we know from him, what we can learn about this saint and his life, the fact that he died a martyr, and the fact that we now associate romantic love with him, is the fact that for St. Valentine there was no separation between the love of God, the love that he received from God, and the love he gave back to God by giving him his life, by giving him his martyrdom. There was no separation between that love and between the love between a man and a woman, between romantic love. For him, the second one flowed naturally out of the first, and there was no separation between the two. How do we celebrate the holiday now? We celebrate it as only the second version of love without the first, as the romantic love without the divine love, without receiving that love from God first. And so now you associate Valentine's Day with the cards and the chocolates and the flowers and all that stuff. And some people have very hostile reactions to the day. Some people feel very cynical about the day. Some people get even depressed about the day because it reminds them that they're alone, as they believe, if they don't have a significant other, that they're alone, and so they resent all this happiness and all the romance talk and all that stuff because that's all that the day is reduced to. It's reduced to just the romantic love without the divine love from whence it comes. And really, as a culture, that's what we tend to do. We tend to separate God from romantic love as though God is somehow opposed to romantic love or God is somehow against it. And what does God have to do, with my love, with my relationship, with my attractions? As though he's, opposed to that kind of love or he's out to get us or something like that. When you separate that love, when you separate romantic love from God, you lose the divine element, the godliness that transcends it, that makes it something more than just human love. And then it opens itself to being a cliche, to being all those things about Valentine's Day that people don't like, to being the stupid, corny pop songs and just the pure sentiment without the real sense of love behind it. But for St. Valentine, you couldn't have one without the other. Real love is that sense of sacrifice, that sense of giving someone else yourself. And God shows us how to do that best more than anyone else. And St. Valentine gave that back to God by giving him his entire life. So for St. Valentine, there was no separation between his love for God, God's love for him, and the love between a man and a woman. And for us, it should be the same. The whole reason a priest, myself, or as was the case presumably with St. Valentine, the priest remains celibate. The priest gives up that life of marriage and of romantic love, not because that's bad, but to point to the reality that there is something higher than romantic love. Yes, we can't live our lives without love, but romantic love is not the highest version of love. It is the love we receive from God and that we give back to him as best we can. That is the highest form of love. And that's what my life as a priest is all about, to remind people that there is that higher love. And without it, we just have our human loves, which by themselves are open to messiness and to mistakes and to getting hurt and to using each other. And without God's love to influence us, to transcend our love and to guide us, we're going to end up a mess. And so we need the love of God in our life to love the best we can, as St. Valentine did. So Wherever you're at, whatever you're going to do tomorrow, maybe you're married, maybe you're not married, maybe you have a significant other, maybe you don't, maybe you're going to be all alone, maybe you love this day, maybe you hate this day. Whatever the case may be, ask Jesus to come into your heart this Valentine's Day to be your first love, whether you have someone else or whether you don't. Ask Jesus to be your first love, because only by doing that can you love the best you can as a single person, as a married person, as anything in between. So that is my challenge to you this St. Valentine's Day. Thank you very much. Check out my blog, manofcloth1.blogspot.com. Leave a comment, by the way, if you're interested in me. If there are particular things about the faith you'd be interested in seeing me make a video of, feel free to mention those in the comments. Until next time, God bless you. Pax vobiscum.